Hi, my name is Rebel Glam, and this is my interview for the Sailors Review magazine. The first question, please briefly introduce myself. Well, I am a multi passionate person. I am multifaceted. I'm a creative, and I do a lot of things. The main ones being I'm a chef, I've written books, and I do poetry. Other than that, I also do visual art. Um, it's hard to put myself in a box like this, so I'll leave it there. Um, Between art and cooking, what did you have a passion for first? I don't think passions work like that for most people. Sometimes it's about what you're exposed to, but I would say that I always had a passion for both. From the time I was little, I was always um, playing cooking show. That's my real thing that I like to do. Is I like to be a chef instructor, like how you see on TV. I used to have a television show as well. So I've been doing that from a little kid, but I've also been drawing, painting, and creating, writing, all those things my whole life. I have won awards for my writing from a small age. I I wouldn't really put a timeline on which one by saying which one came first. Um, how did you become an artist and a chef? Do you become a creative or does God give you a gift? I think God gives us gifts and we answer the calling. And even if you would say there's some poor child somewhere in the world who has nothing, but if they have it within them to play the violin, I believe they're going to make one. I just think that when something is within you, it finds a way of coming out, and life has a way of exposing you somehow to what it is that you are supposed to do, and you are able to then see it, fall in love with it, and pursue it. And of course, it's not a perfect world, so the question, um, the question does make sense. But I think, really and truly, a lot of these things that manifest are who we really are. Um, they say cooking is an art. What do you think is the link between food and art? Art is about taking raw material and forming something beautiful. There's something called culinary arts because cooking is an art. It's well known that cooking is art. There's all different types of arts, liberal arts, and so on. So, in the same way, how people would view art to be something like a painter, um, having the paint and then putting it onto canvas or whatever medium, it's the same thing. You have the raw ingredients and then you bring them together to make something beautiful. Cooking is also, though, a life skill. So, even if it is that you don't use it for art, um, you just use it just so that you can get by, it's a good thing to know. But I would also say that, also argue that art is a life skill because the ability to expose yourself to beauty is the first step to understanding that you are a creation and what it means to truly be human, to truly be made in God's image, to truly connect to the earth and to all the goodness that exists in it, and to the promises for it to be returned to the state that it should be. Because if you do not connect to art, if you cannot see everything around you and connect to it, then you're one of the problems with what's on the earth. So, so I would say that it's very, very important to view everything as art. When you start to take things a little bit more seriously and you view the shoes that you wear that someone created it, or the style of your table, or the style of whatever the style of your table or the style of whatever it is you're doing, and you take it and you make it into more than just, oh, this is a rug or this is a chair or this is a whatever, and you start to see the intention behind it and the feeling behind it and the fact that another human did it, then you connect more and then you understand that everything is art. um Especially something like food, though. I mean, like, everybody knows that we even food is culture. I mean, food is You can't get away from the fact that food is one of the most important parts of life, and in that sense, there's many different artistic approaches to food. Um, as a woman of many talents, how have you managed to stay relevant in all your fields? Am I relevant to who? I think the problem with people is that people keep seeking validation from other people. I don't do that anymore, which is why you would see I don't really try to promote many things anymore. I have a restaurant, and in my restaurant, it gives me an outlet because I can cook, I can display my artwork, I have my books in there, and I get to meet people from all over the world and to share with them. I get to sing. I forgot to even mention that I sing. So I get to do all kinds of things like that. I give myself an outlet, and that's what I've always done. I think when we wait on people to decide that we're irrelevant, then we fall prey to the corruption that is the world today. If you look in Hollywood or the music industry or anything, you always find corruption. Why? Because these people want to decide what makes you relevant, and also because um, doing something wild or crazy, even if it's degrading to you as a person, will get you attention. People have taken that route. So I think that, am I relevant in all my fields? Maybe, maybe not to people. But as I said, people don't validate me. I think that the most important thing is that you are happy with what you're able to create. And I've also found that the more stress or whatever issues you have going on in your life, is the harder it is to create quality work anyway. People say, that food from people who love you tastes better. And that's true. I always try to have a loving spirit towards each of my clients and towards my family and so on. Whenever I have to cook, I don't like to cook under distress. I don't like to be miserable and cook. But the joke is sometimes when I'm miserable, if I get to cook something that's creative, it actually makes me feel a lot better. So, sorry, I lost my thought. Yeah, so about staying relevant. When you create your own outlets, when you have that entrepreneur mindset that I have, you'll always be relevant to the extent you want to be. So, something that I want to get into now that I have a restaurant, it's called Jago's Lounge, and it's Jago's by Chef Blam on Instagram. I want to sell art prints. I haven't started it yet. I do have all the art displayed there, well, a lot of my art because I can't be all, but yeah. And the point is that in order to do this, I'll have to go into getting the prints done so people can buy the prints. And in that way, I stay relevant in my field. I might enter something. Last year, I entered NIFCA, which is Barbados National Independence Festival for Cultural Arts or Creative Art. I can't remember. Sorry, I have a very bad memory. But anyway, I'll find the actual name and send it to you. But yeah, NIFCA, they do a lot of cultural things and they have, they judge art, which is not something I really believe in, but I do understand why it's necessary and how it can be positive for artists. And yeah, and I won 4 awards for literary arts. There are sometimes when, those things make sense. So you can say I'm relevant because I just won those awards, or you can understand that I've been writing for years. I have some really great stories, and whether I publish them or not, they have value because my value is not defined by how people see me, but by the quality of what I do, by the intentions of my heart, those kind of things, the deeper things. Um, Sorry for being so deep all the time. Yeah. Um, Being a mom can be a full time job. How do you balance your work life and being a mom and wife? Well, I think to a large extent, people don't understand the way the family should be anymore because society has done such damage to that. Really and truly, in the formative years of a child's life, I believe that the mother needs to be able to take care of that child and the father needs to provide. I do think, however, that in our society and today's world, women have been forced to work. Now, women always trying to prove a point. We're always trying to prove that we can be equal to men and we can do this stuff. If you are confident in your intelligence as a woman and in your talent, you know that you have the ability to do all kinds of things. But that doesn't mean that in the formative years of your child's life, that you want to be working. Usually, you want to spend that time with your child. And the thing about children is you get a different child every year. Every time you're looking around, they're growing, they're changing, they're into something else. And if you're not around, you miss it. And I don't think the dad should miss it either, which means he has to have a schedule that can work. But I definitely feel like one of the biggest things that helps you to be able to be balanced as an artist and a mom is your partner, and if they're able to and willing to support you in that. Um, I think that's one of the biggest things is just setting boundaries for your work, because we do live in an economy where it's very hard to make ends meet. I think, you know, the next generation, you'll see less and less marriages with less and less children because of the way society has been purposely structured, and the way how money works. But I do think that that's one of the things. You have to have a partnership, and you have to make a plan and set boundaries on what you can and cannot do in order to make sure to be present for your children, which is the most important job at the time. And then as your children grow, you open up more doors and have more room for more things. At the time when I was doing my TV show, my youngest daughter, she's the third child. I have four, but my youngest daughter, she would have not been born yet. After I had her, that whole TV thing and stuff like that, I didn't have the time for that. So I would have planned it out different if I had planned more. But I'm grateful for my children, and I would say definitely that it is about having a support system. And if people would support you more as an artist, you'd be able to do so much more. But we live in a world where every man is for himself, and a lot of times when you're a mom, you feel overwhelmed. So that's the thing I would say is to find support how you can, and you know that's the way that you're going to find balance is if you have help, and if not, you have to set boundaries on the amount of time you put in your work, uh, and let that kind of not come in front of your love for your children or the care that you give them. um, what would you say has been the highlight of your career? I don't know, I've done so many things. It's like I have a little verse on a song where I say, I do so many things that I blend English. I say I does, reaching goals and being golden, call me Queen Midas. And, everything I touch don't turn to gold, I wish. But point being that, it depends on what you value. For me, some of the biggest things I've done have been things to help people. Like, for instance, the events that I put on for artists, to see people come and touch the mic for the first time is so, so valuable to me. Or the hand I've had even in my brother becoming an artist now, and him releasing music on the radio and stuff like that. Things like that have more value to me than maybe like awards and stuff. I have been featured in people's books, I've been on TV, but a lot of these things are not, you get this epiphany, and you start to realize that a lot of these things are not as beautiful as they are cut out to be. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of drama and stress and pressure. But when you help others, things I've done with food, for instance, like teaching new mothers how to make nutritious meals for their children, different types of volunteer work, all kinds of things like that that I've done. I would say those are the things um, that I'm most proud of. Besides influencing my children positively, like for instance, my daughter, she's into DJing now. She's 15, and I'm so proud of her, and just things like that. Um, I've written 2 books and some other things too, but definitely I feel like if I had time, I could do a lot more with those kind of things and maybe push them more or whatever. So I still stick to the things I said are the highlight. Um, what are some of the most notable achievements today? That's a similar question. So yeah, 2 albums, have my own TV show. I've written 3 books. I have a cookbook that I haven't released as yet because I haven't had the time. Since COVID, I don't think that I've had the mental space or time for much as far as new projects is going on. So I haven't done that. But yeah, so I used to feature on several TV shows, and I have my own cooking show. Um, I've done several art shows. Now I run a restaurant with my family. Um, I would say those are the most notable things. And as I said as well, getting like a couple national awards. Uh, yeah, but all those kind of things, they don't catch me, you know. I look back and then be like, oh yeah, remember I did that? My brain don't work like that. It's more about like connection for me. So I would say a lot of notable things I've done is like connect with different artists and encourage them to reach their potential, um, and to see them create again. To see people that I know that were down and out that weren't singing, sing again, and know that I had a hand in that. You know, stuff like that makes me feel really good. Um, what advice do you have for the girl child wishing to succeed in the arts industry while building a career family? Sis, you cannot do it all. It's a lie and an illusion. Stop listening to people trying to lie to you to make you miserable. How are you gonna have a full career and a full family and try to succeed in the arts, which is such a corrupt industry? I think we have to be more truthful, honest, and realistic about what it is that we're trying to do. I don't think that this should be anybody's direct goal. I think your goal, first of all, in your life is to be your authentic self and to be happy. And then you need to seek the Creator and ask Him to guide you. Because from the time that you think you already know, so this is what I want to be and this is what I want to do, then a lot of times you're going to get a lot of rude awakenings and be very hurt. And that happened to all of us, especially us that brought up music, I would say 10, 15 years ago. And we thought, like, well, this music is good, so it would get play. And then you realize, like, music is an industry that's, so commercial and nobody really care if it's good. You have to get people to endorse you for whatever reason and so on. Like, you have to, first of all, have somebody to guide you enough to help you to remove those illusions so that you can have realistic goals. You need to understand that marriage is very difficult, having a family is very difficult. Any one of these projects can take everything that you have, and you have to do things for the love of it, right? Or else you will lose yourself in it. Stop trying to do that. You see, society has done that. All the magazines, the TVs, they give you these labels and they say, oh, you know, sis, you can do it all, balance it, have it all. And then there's all these people on social media working nonstop to make you believe they have it all together. And really and truly, all they have together is cameras and screens and makeup. They don't have peace. So at the end of the day, I would say take your life one day at a time. Never forget to be your authentic creative self. Seek God in your life for real with an open heart and focus on one thing at a time, one moment at a time, sometimes one day at a time to achieve your goals. Life is very dynamic, and what you think you want, you don't know if you want it really, really, because you don't know until you get somewhere all that it takes. So you need to just stay humble and stay open to being fluid like water and willing to change where necessary in order to keep the balance in your life and in order to keep the happiness in your life. Um, how can people get in touch with you or access your books? Well, my most important book, Love Yourself More, that's on Amazon. So you can find that Love Yourself More by Selena Rebel Glam Dodson. My other books, well, there's a second one, Stains on Black. Yeah, I wrote it and everything, but then I felt like it was too personal and I never published it. Um, and then I have Meals and Ideas for Shapeshifters, which, if you want to do that, but you do our fitness program. My husband and I run a fitness program, and that book is specific meals for our clients. As I said, for my other cookbook, I've been working on that, but I keep getting inspired to do different things, so I haven't brought it out as yet. I have not had the time to just really focus on that. So when I get the time to do that, I'll definitely bring it out. And yeah, when you talk about getting in touch with me at Rebel Glam Queen on Instagram, it's probably the best way to try to get in touch with me. But by get in touch with me, um, if you mean like just to see like some of my more of my ideology or how I see life and so on, you can check out my YouTube. It's called Rebel Glam Productions as well. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see if I can find some pictures for you. Bye.